Being as what they call content creator on YouTube or Twitch or wherever is something that has become all the more of a normality. However, I often feel that people tend to not think enough about the realism of how much not only the content creator themselves is being compensated fairly for, but also how well their viewers are being treated. For example, a lot of the time nowadays, most of what I see from so-called successful content creators is having to pander to companies for political, social reasons, doing a lot of things that they probably don't really want to do for the sake of just being in servitude, just so that they can feel like they're professional. And a lot of the time they kind of make their money through these indirect means like tip donations and Patreons and things that don't even directly relate and aren't really directly fairly measured based on the content they actually produce. You know, a lot of the time, for example, you hear all this stuff about YouTube algorithm or cancel culture and things that involve manipulation, or you even get some of these YouTubers that like to sort of manipulate the system where they just take a break for a few months and still get away with it and still get away with like keeping their Patreon up and all sorts of ridiculous garbage. And I can't imagine much of these content creators are very happy with themselves either. They're probably doing this because they don't feel fairly compensated, and a lot of their money probably ends up being distributed to a bunch of different other people that they're working with. At this point, I would imagine a lot of people feel that there's not even any hope in the idea of somebody being an entertainer online and fairly being compensated. Well, from what I see, there is one thing that I certainly think is a better solution than anything that I've seen so far, and it is this project called Imagine Replay. One thing I like about Imagine Replay is that they like to emphasize the fact that they want to get rid of the idea of a middleman. Now, I'm not going to claim to understand every single detail that they spoke of in the white paper, but I will say that it excites me just to read a little bit about this. Currently, the fragmented and kind of centralized system that content creators go through is generally first the content creator, then knowing where to put the video on some sort of cloud storage, then worrying about commercials and monetization, then the pre-transcoding networks such as VODs. Now, let's think about those three things: cloud, networks, commercial, and VODs. All three of those things are actually automatically taken care of by the meta chain that Imagine Replay is a subchain of, Theta Network. Theta Network is a chain using blockchain technology where people, hundreds of thousands, already host these things called edge nodes that provide bandwidth to make video content delivery not only cheaper and easier, but also pays everybody who uses an edge node back, and is also designed so that if you're watching something that's powered by Theta, even just watching it will give you some T-fuel in reward. Imagine Replay is one example of utilizing this technology, but Theta has been building edge storage, aka sort of their own form of cloud storage this year, as well as a video API. So not only are they now working on video streaming, but when it comes to the storage of content, they'll be able to take care of that as well. And there probably won't be as much need for monetization through ads. I don't know if there won't be any, but if people already start to be normally paid automatically in little bits in T-Fuel, or perhaps if it's on Imagine Replay and their coming RPLAY token, then that could probably make compensation both for the viewer and the creator much more fair. Not to mention, Theta and Imagine Replay are not designed to have to create their own platforms in order to work. There does exist Theta.tv that I would say is more so like a Twitch clone that's designed to show what Theta is capable of doing, but I would not be surprised if I saw in the future Theta partnering with YouTube and Twitch and other people, because it's pretty simple. They would provide a cheaper form of them to have their large amount of video content delivery and video storage, so it would only be a no-brainer in my opinion. Not to mention Steve Chen and Justin Kan, some of the people who founded YouTube and Twitch, are already on board with Theta, as well as many other partners such as Sony, Samsung, Google, as well as a lot of other companies like Jukin Media, CAA, Metro Goldwyn Mayer, Katy Perry, One, World Poker Tour, Fail Army, and more. One thing Imagine Replay has already created that doesn't have as much to do with content creators on places like YouTube, but is more like a clone of Netflix that's actually managed to completely legally be completely free, is this website called rewarded.tv. You don't need to know anything about crypto or anything to log on to this site. You can literally just create an account with an email, and it's basically a free Netflix that has even better video content delivery. I mean, I don't have the fastest internet, but I noticed that the video on this, even for 1080p video, is much faster, probably because it's already being powered by the Theta edge nodes. And I see that they keep making partnerships partnerships with other video companies that allow them to legally host a lot of these different movies. Because of the way this system automatically rewards people for watching and automatically compensates these companies for working with them, that way the companies are happy to perfectly let people watch these videos for free. I know some classics already like Plan 9 from Outer Space or this interesting documentary about Michael Jackson. And in the future, they'll reward you with RPLAY tokens once they release that, which will literally just be paying you to watch. Another thing that's good about Theta is that they've already rolled out this thing called Theta Pass DRM. Through NFT technology, it means that you won't be able to watch certain videos unless you have the digital rights through the ownership of an NFT. Now, a lot of people don't seem to understand that an NFT basically just means having the ownership of something, which means that it could basically be the pass to anything. This is exactly what anything like Netflix or any other streaming service would want, because it can prove your digital rights of something in a secure way without needing a middleman. While we haven't seen this kind of technology and service adopted to the mainstream, the fact that a site like Rewarded TV exists already and is already so convenient in showing you movies and everything is pretty crazy and pretty impressive.
The fact that this exists means we already lost.
I can only imagine how much it could affect our world once more partnerships slowly get created. And honestly, given that Theta is partnered with Google, Samsung, and Sony, that's already pretty crazy in my opinion. But long story short, Imagine Replay seems to be providing a way of allowing streaming services to involve proper compensation that isn't based on anything of a middleman or a social element, but more so just a mathematical element. It measures how much video is put out, how much people watch it, and compensates based on that to creators, as well as even paying the viewers. A lot of YouTubers and streamers these days seem to always be chasing after the idea that they can fairly make a living off of what they do, and while there are a number of people who are rich off of it, I find that most of it right now is just a game where only the 1% succeeds in it. And even a lot of the people who do succeed end up succeeding off of indirect things like tip donations and Patreon, like I mentioned before. And if you ask me, that's just thievery.
That's stealing. That's stealing.
Not to mention sites like Twitch, YouTube, and Patreon all have a history of banning people just for having political views that they don't like or saying things. This is not something that is in any way judged by a social element like that. It's judged fairly based on the numbers and the math. Another exciting feature about this is that they say that they're going to design it so that if there's a content creator that you like, you'll be able to invest in them almost as if the channel themselves is a cryptocurrency or a stock. So if they end up making a lot of money, you'll profit off of it too, not just from watching, but if you chose to invest in them. I would not like to live with the social credit score system. I think that slowly Imagine Replay is just one example of a business that's already creating a revolution of freedom in ways that really matter to us. To say the least, I don't think I've seen a project before that's come any better than this.